Chairman, and good afternoon, members. The detailed report of the Finance Committee will be shared with the annual general report, but allow me to go through some of the highlights of what, as a committee, we felt would be important for the Kenya Editors Guild going forward. There are two key issues that emerged in the course of our duty. One was on sustainability, and the other one was on fundraising. Kenya Editors Guild is a non-profit making organization, therefore we are not in any business to make money. However, we must run our affairs with money. So how do we ensure that we raise this money? One, we said that we need to look at diversifying our sources of funding. We have for a very long time relied only on donor support and membership subscription. And if you look at our income expenditure, you'll realize that in the year under review, our membership subscription was only about 600,000 Kenyan shillings, vis-a-vis an expenditure of about 55 million Kenyan shillings. So that tells you the gap that we have as a guild in terms of how to run our operations and raising resources. So without donor support, then I want to believe KEG is dead. So how then do we ensure that we have things that we are doing as an organization that will ensure that we run our affairs properly? So we have to diversify our sources of funding, look beyond the grants, go more specifically to some donors, look for sponsorships, and do fundraising events, because these are the only ways that we can raise this money. Two, and I'll just be looking at just a few, we need to have a sustainable model, a business model as it were. And one thing that arose from the last AGM, and we also captured as a committee, is the need for KEG to have probably a tax shop that members can buy souvenirs and keep the organization running. A good example would be if you want to gift your relatives and you are a good member of this organization, as a right-standing member, why don't you buy them hoodies or cakes or t-shirts or pens? You have children going to school, why don't you, instead of buying big pens for them, buy KEG-branded pens for them so that as they go to school, they become our ambassadors and people realize that there's journalism in this country and there's journalism of good standing, spearheaded by the Kenya Editors Guild. So these are some of the things. Again, we really need to build partnerships that are sustainable. Beyond projects, what are some of these partnerships that KEG can enter into that ultimately will realize some revenue for them? So we need to look at that. And lastly, we must measure impact. Anybody who gives us their money must see the value. So how do they see this value? They see this value by us as members, taking part more proactively in some of these engagements, as members, reviewing some of these things we are doing, and giving a progress report. If, for example, we go for a training, or we are trained, then this should reflect in the products that we churn out there. So if it's a training or, let's say, financial reporting, then the kind of stories that we see out there must reflect on the training that we were supported to do. So as members, we really need to be keen and ensure that we do that. The other aspect that I mentioned was on how to raise funds, and this is where it gets very interesting. We must now start hosting fundraisers to run our affairs. It is very, very important, and one of the things that we were looking at is, why don't we do charity walks, especially on the World Press Freedom Day? People buy t-shirts at 1,500 shillings, caps at 500 shillings. We can do armbands at 600 or 300, and as a result, we are able to raise money to fund our operations. The most interesting thing out here is, why don't we also do cocktail? The next president can invite us for a cocktail, and we pay 2,000 shillings, and we go and mingle as members, and that money is used to run our operations. Chairman, you are living without hosting us for a cocktail. So perhaps before you exit, you are challenged to raise one so that we are able to raise funds. The other thing that we can do is to crowdfund. We can do this by championing several causes around press freedom, integrity in journalism, sustainability in journalism, media leadership, and we have people helping us to fund such causes. And lastly, I said the more detailed one will be on the annual report, is to appeal to individual donors. We have amongst us as members people who have left the trip, are in good standing, and God has blessed them. So why don't we appeal to them? Why don't we appeal to them so that they fund as individual donors? Over and above our membership, we know Kenyans, we know global citizens that would be more than happy to partner with the Kenya Editors Guild and fund certain causes for us. So it is important that the incoming office works through these recommendations and ensure that as an organization we are sustainable and all facets of our operations are duly funded and we don't have to rely on members. Lastly, this is a rallying call. Once the new team comes into office, it will be important. Right now, the role of fundraising is only left to some time. It will be important that we rely on our strengths, our networks, and set up a fundraising committee from the membership that will go a long way in supporting the secretariat to look for these funds, look for these avenues to raise this money, so that at the end of the day, we are all members of a well-oiled, funded Kenya Editors Guild that is able to be independent and remain autonomous as we want it to be. Thank you, and God bless you.